What is going on? It is Gino Bonino, guys. Welcome to my channel once again. I appreciate the fact that you decided to tune in and check things out. I have not done an unboxing video in forever, but if you're like me and the fact that you've been kind of stuck in the house with no outlet to get your comic book yayas taken care of, you have probably hit everything you possibly can, from mystery boxes to um, auctions to eBay, you name it. And that's kind of what I did. In fact, if you look over there, I have a huge pile of stuff. So I've kind of decided to make this a little bit kind of a combination between unboxing and a haul video. I would do it live, but I've got a lot of stuff, and I'm probably going to take a break between, so I don't make this too terribly long. So we'll go from there. So again, bear with me if this gets long. Please stick around, because you don't know what's going to happen at the end. As far as what we got going, I know I'm going to probably save my best boxes for the very end. Most of this, I would say, most of the boxes are going to be auction wins from probably people well known in the community. But once again, I'll show you what I got, and we'll go from there. First thing I want to bring to your attention is this. I normally wouldn't make a big deal out of this. It's just a basic Spider-Woman #1 from the new series. The thing is, this is a Walmart 3-pack, and the only reason I bring it up, if you're watching this in somewhere in the neighborhood of the end of May or beginning of June, there is a Symbiote Spider-Man second print #4 that's got kind of a cross between Venom and Mysterio on the cover. I will put a picture of it somewhere over there. Currently, at least the time of making this video, it was selling for triple digits, $100 and more. It's got a super low print run. My understanding is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,600 copies. That's very low. So if you can find one, it's probably worth getting. I know a lot of times these Walmart books tend to come out of the gate super hot and then peter out. However, there are a couple. The Detective Comics one comes to mind. That's still selling for triple digits, $100 and better, maybe almost $200 and better. And this one, being such a low print, might be good. And there is an outside possibility that Marvel or Sony might do something where they combine Mysterio and Venom. And if that's the case, being that this would be like the first cover appearance of the character, it does have a possibility of being a super, super hot book. So again, if you happen to be at Walmart and you see this, it's also reported that it's in some of the Star Wars Bounty Hunter 3-packs. If you see it, it's worth at least looking into. Now, there's a way you can kind of check first, which is if you look right along here, the spine, without messing up the books, but you can still look for a black little mark right about by the staple, and then kind of that obvious Mysterio green running up the spine of the book in black and purple. And if you see that, that probably means it's typically the second or third book in the pack. So that way you don't have to waste your money if you don't want Spider-Woman, buying the entire pack of comics and going from there. So once again, if you see Spider-Woman or you see Bounty Hunter at the Walmart that you happen to be in, it might be worth taking a look at the 3 books. See if you see a little black mark right about by the staple. It'll be probably the second book. Little black mark and then green, and that'll let you know that that book is in there. And again, it's worth getting. I mean, I don't think it'll be hot forever, but I do know that it's definitely worth getting now. If you wanted to make a quick buck and flip it and get a little extra money to buy stuff you want to buy, it's worth looking into. There are a few out there. I know Facebook is flooded with them. I see people that have found 15, 20 copies. I don't know how that's possible. But my understanding is the LCSs could order them too. So maybe they did. But again, it's a second print of a book that kind of, has a very low print run to begin with. So chances are that it wasn't heavily ordered. But maybe some did. So again, worth taking a look for. Good luck if you do that. Once again, the book you want to look for is Spider-Woman or Star Wars Bounty Hunter. These are things that I already opened, just still worth kind of showing. This is a mini series which is getting a little bit of heat right now. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's try that again. This is Wretches. This is by Scout Comics. This is the one that kind of the hot one, issue 1. but I also have issue 3. I ordered these from Midtown. Just when I found out they were getting hot, I actually checked Midtown, which is sort of one thing I always do. 9 times out of 10, they're sold out. But every once in a while, it'll surprise you. They have stuff. I think often people think Midtown more a place to buy new books, and they don't often think of it having a lot of back issues. So I always check it just for the hell of it to see if they have it. Also, issue 2 from them. That's how it looks, by the way. Kind of a very cool cover. Then, and this one is sort of a go nowhere book, but this was a bit of a surprise. I know I put this on my Instagram. This is Prophet number 5, and the reason that I ordered this is because it is it's from Stephen Platt, and I love Stephen Platt. I loved his work. I know I fell in love with him when he worked on Moon Knight way back in the day. The cool thing about this is I ordered it just as basically a beater copy. Shows up as fine. It's actually better than fine. I mean, the big mail order companies, Midtown, My Comic Shop, etc., have a habit of often they'll low grade books. They'll say stuff is fine that's actually very fine. They'll say stuff that's very fine that's actually near mint. And I think they do it that way so people, A, don't get upset with them and send the stuff back or give them kind of a bad name in social media and whatnot. So again, it's not a bad idea to order stuff from them and go a little lower grade, especially if you have a press. A lot of the stuff that I find from them, the reason that it's lower grade is because it just simply has a box roll or a spine roll on it, something that's super easy to fix. So again, it's worth checking out. But the reason this is cool is, and I just noticed this when I looked into it, if you look real closely, right there, it's got his signature. Stephen Platt's signature, and that's one of the creators that's signature I don't have. This wasn't listed as a signature book or anything. I have a feeling it was so close, and it's gold ink, so it kind of mixes in with the color scheme of the cover. But my guess is that somebody didn't catch it. He probably came in for a signing, and this book got thrown into the lot. But again, this is Prophet number 5, and I just simply got it for the artist. I didn't really get it for any other thing. This was also something I ordered from Midtown. This is Secret War. This is kind of the sketch variant of Wolverine. There's also, of course, a color version of this. But again, this is a good book to have. This is book 2 of 5 book miniseries. Then I also want to talk and say thank you so much to Adrian. Adrian had an auction, which I won. The main book that I was looking for was one that I don't have in my collection yet. At least didn't yet, and that was, bear with me here, I'll find it. Shazam, number 1. It's a pretty decent copy, actually. I was fairly surprised how nice it was. It's probably in about a very fine range. Could use a press and a little bit of a cleaning, which will definitely bump it up a couple grades or a grade. But anyway, bought this from him, and the second book that went along with it was Doom Patrol. What is this, number 89? What is this? Mineral, vegetable, whatever, man. Anyway, the point being that I mentioned when I won the auction that I didn't have a lot of DC books. As I've mentioned many times before, grew up kind of in a small town, and the town had one little newsstand, and the newsstand primarily got Marvel books in it, so that's kind of what I grew up reading. But anyway, he, in the niceness of his heart, heard that I said that and sent along some cool DC books. World's Finest, number 258, which is a killer Batman, Superman cover, and also 259. Thank you, Adrian. Again, I did mention in Instagram that I appreciate it. Also threw in Superpowers, number 4, and Legion of Superheroes, number 293. I believe. Yep. These are 2 more books that I, two more books that I ordered from Midtown. These are new near mint copies. This is Secret Warrior, which is kind of a spec book going forward. and since they were fairly reasonable, I got a couple copies of them. And I also got the Midtown exclusive Lazarus, which is also kind of a spec book running forward. This is purple cover, which is, again, a little bit unusual to find. And I ordered 2 of those as well. And also another copy of Prophet on issue 2. Lastly, from Wink Inc., had a Spider-Man lot that I won. Spider-Man number 4. One of the variants, I don't know what variant that is. Also, issue 42, which I believe is first face of Mary Jane Watson, if memory doesn't serve me. And also 346. There's just that killer Venom cover. And I have a bunch of McFarlane. I thought I had the entire run, but there's 2 I don't have. I believe 307 and 311. I used to see this issue all the time and think nothing of it, but then I looked and saw that I do not own it. So I wanted to get, that was one of kind of the happy books I was happy was in that lot. And What If Spider-Man's Clone Lived? And this one I want to point out just because I think it's just a killer book. Again, I'm a big fan of swipes and swipe covers, covers that were inspired by other work. And this is She Blanca. Actually, it's Street Fighter Unlimited, issue number 10, but it's a swipe of She-Hulk number 1. And again, obviously, just a killer cover. I mentioned this in my Instagram post that they do a bunch of swipes. They have their A cover, which is the normal cover, and then they have a variant that takes a bunch of actually fairly covers that haven't been swiped many times before, like of X-Men 2099, for example, which is kind of that white book with the blue foil around it. I know they have a swipe of a bunch of stuff like that. They also have a swipe of Batman 497, I think, the one where Batman gets his back broken, and they again, so they do swipes of books that haven't been done a lot of times before, which is sort of a cool thing. If you get a little bit tired of your classic, I mean, Spider-Man 300 has been copied many times. Hulk 340 copied many times, and those are great, but I like, it's kind of cool when they take covers that haven't been messed with a bunch of times and swipe that. So that's something to be aware of. Let's get to the box opening. We will start with what I have on top. This is from Airboy, the Barbarian. I'm not going to give his address away. Actually, you couldn't see it anyway, so it's fine. Oh, you could, but we're not going to give it away. As you can see, this is still sealed up. And Airboy, I've ordered from quite a few times, usually does an excellent job of packing his stuff up. I know lately the mail I've noticed, has been kind of, let's put it this way, stuff isn't on time. The post office is, and thank God for the post office. I think that's one thing that kind of kept the country from going in complete anarchy during the Corona thing, is the fact that we could still get our mail. It obviously was late. It's not perfect, but I'm not one of these people that complain about stuff if it's still done and done as best they can. I know the post office, because of there being outages, people sick and things like that, and also just the volume of stuff that's getting shipped, because you can't walk to your store right now and buy things, so a lot of stuff people are instead choosing to send through the mail, and for that reason they tend to be pretty overtaxed, and I noticed that is definitely affecting service. Stuff's running a little late. Stuff that would normally take a day or two is taking significantly longer than that. So what do we have here? We have a slab, at least. Looks like there's more in the slab. And we've got a couple slabs and some books. First one is Stabby Bunny number 5, excuse me. 9.6. He's got it in the Mylar, which is cool. I wouldn't mess with taking it out, but this was just kind of this was the second feature, if you will. The main thing that I got from this order was this book. And it is, sorry about that, Iron Man number 47 at 8.0. Just a cool cover. I mean, whenever you have Iron Man breaking chains, it's one of those covers that it's kind of one of the subcategories of covers that I like. It also shows, I think if I remember right, this was the retelling of Iron Man. It's got looks like somebody wrote in red ink a little bit of a date stamp. But again, if you look, you've got Iron Man's early days from when he was silver and when he first started out to his incarnation. And again, just an excellent cover. These are just classic. I mean, the way I look at this kind of stuff is this. 8.0 is plenty good for something like this. The main reason is if you ever do decide that you need to sell it, let's say you wanted to flip it, this remains affordable. This is the kind of book where you don't have to, again, I know it sounds like a weird problem to have, but sometimes you get something that's super high grade and it gets a little bit out of a lot of collectors' range. You get something like this, and it kind of stays within, again, most anybody can afford it if it's something they want. I'm going to check. I'm not usually real hip to popping stuff out of slabs and then getting them regraded, especially if it's not a huge book. If it's not like Hulk 181 or something like that, I normally won't mess with it. And this was another kind of a big book that I do not own. I got from him. This is Swamp Thing number 1. Just the cool, iconic cover. The main issue with this, you can probably see it has a little dog ear right over the 20 cent. And it also has a few little issues right here in the purple. But again, better low grade than no grade. This probably falls somewhere in about a mid grade. I would say like a 5.5, which again, it still was an affordable copy for me. So it didn't break the bank. I mean, I like Swamp Thing a lot, but it's not one of those books that I'm going to spend $200, $300, $400 for just to have. But I've got one in there. If I ever do decide to sell it, you can always sell and upgrade. Spend a little bit more and stuff like that. So it's always good. I mean, that's kind of a good strategy to have on books. You start with a grade that you can afford. Then if you make a few dollars selling other books or flipping things, you just add to that, sell that book, and get another copy. You can always usually get. I mean, my strategy for a book that I want to keep is if something bad happens, if God forbid there's a medical emergency or something like that, can I at least get for a book what I paid for it? And if the answer is yes, I'll usually pull the trigger on something. Also, I look at it like if I want to get a better copy, I'll do that and then usually sell the lesser of the two copies. I see people do that all the time. Next is just a single book. I'm probably guessing this is from eBay. So let's take a look. This could be anything from a lame book to something a little bit bigger than that. First thing I noticed was we have good old Media Mail. They were quite lucky, and it looks like nothing happened to it. They have the old wrapper inside a wrapper, which is a good thing because it's been raining and nasty in this part of the country for the last little bit. So it's good to have stuff double wrapped and some kind of a waterproof wrap on the outside. And in this one we've got a couple of Ender books. We have issue 350. Let's see here. Let's see. Take a look at this. Which has a cool wraparound cover. And I'm not sure what the significance of this copy is. 350. I'll have to double check. I think it is I don't really even know. Again, I'll have to double check that one. And every once in a while, you'll get books that you ordered a while back, and you're like, exactly, why did I order that? Or did I win it, or something like that? So we'll have to take a gander. This one is from Jeff Johnson out in Cali. So I do know what this is. Thank you, Jeff. I didn't order this too terribly long ago, and it shipped real quick, especially, again, cross-country. And we've got the good old-fashioned Gemini. And I'm not sure if you do or don't know this. Most everybody does. But if you do your shipping with PayPal, real often, or at least always, you can get your shipping. You can ship medium, a priority business size for the same price. They don't distinguish between a flat rate envelope being business size or regular size. Whereas if you go through the post office or through eBay's site, it does. So it doesn't seem like they make a big stink about it, even though technically it should be a little more to do business size shipping. They don't make a stink about it. And from Jeff, we have, I think this is a Spider-Man lot. Spider-Man number 116. Craven cover. Oh, not Craven. Excuse me. The Smasher. Sorry. I think this is Smasher first appearance. We've got issue 14, which looks to me like if I'm guessing, a Alex Ross cover. We have a number 33 variant. And then we have another copy of Morbius, the second print, the silver print, if you will, number 101, which is kind of the reason that I bought this. I have a couple of those, but I do have a feeling that that's going to be an issue that will blow up. And here again, my philosophy being that there's a lot of collectors that can't afford the true first appearance, yet they can afford this one. So it's not a bad book to have, just because it does appeal to kind of that budget-minded collector that's looking for a book that's not too terribly crazy expensive. And yet kind of gives them a feeling that they own the book and they don't want to get the facsimile. I mean, that would be another option, which would be get the facsimile issue, but this one still kind of gives them a feeling that they own something a little bit more important than that, not just the bargain basement one. This is a makeup book that I ordered. In essence, I ordered 2 Venomverse, and the gentleman that sold me this didn't see that I ordered 2 of them and sent 1. And instead of doing what a lot of sellers would do, which is just cancel the issue or cancel the order, he went ahead and sent the second one, even though I know it ended up costing him money to do that. So I appreciate it when people do something like that. I hate when people on eBay cancel orders on me. I mean, I don't know, it's probably happened to you too. Either you don't pay. It used to be back in the day where almost people, they were legally obligated to follow through on something, but eBay has really lightened that restriction. They've given the seller a little bit more leeway to be able to cancel stuff. It really sucks because, in essence, if you don't pay enough for something, somebody can turn around and say, I've got something wrong with the book, and then cancel the order, and that's just a pain. I know it's a way to weasel out, or a way to kind of cancel out certain sellers. I won't buy from them again, but it does happen. This is from Hack. This is some books that he's had up for sale. I've got Spider-Girl number 0. Cool cover. And I've got yet a copy of X-Men 211, a little bit smaller book, 237, just kind of helps fill my run of X-Men. Atlas Comics, I've been sort of picking these up whenever I can. This is John Target, Manstalker, issue number 3, I believe, or is it 5? 3. And then just 2 absolutely gorgeous for their age, Incredible Hulks. They look, honestly, they look like they came off the rack. This is 165 and 153, and they're absolutely gorgeous copies. Take a look for yourself. You won't see a thing wrong with them. There's not a spine tick, nothing. Beautiful books. And the big book, or not the big book, Nightmare on Elm Street. I did have a question for Thoro about this. I'm like, Thoro, why does this say Nightmares on Elm Street? I thought it was maybe a workaround to try to keep having to pay licensing to Nightmare on Elm Street, but he just said that they did it that way, in essence, to make a distinguish because it wasn't the same story. In other words, it wasn't a replay plot of the movie. It was a completely different story, so they did it that way to show that it was different. Next is my next to last box. This is from an auction win, I'm sure. We'll see what it's all about. And once again, we got the legal size or business size envelope. And well packaged, no issues, not dinged or messed up or anything like that. Sometimes you'll get these and the corner will be jacked, but not the case here. And this is a bunch of books. And I think, I know who this is from, but let's see. We have Ultimate Fallout number 4. This is the second print. Wolverine number 9. The reason I got this is it has the Apocalypse Now rising up from the swamp cover. Big fan of Apocalypse Now. X-Men number 1. Abbey Road from the Beatles. Zombie Swipe. X Factor number 2. Venom number 1. Guardians of the Galaxy number 1, and this is the X-Men cover swipe. What is it, 240, something like that? And I think these were probably these could be books that I bought. They might have also been throw-ins. I'm not sure. I've got what is this? New Men number 1 from Image. It looks like, again, that 90s era, Youngblood kind of era stuff in Liberty Project from Eclipse, number 4. And I'm not 100% sure who this was from. I will put it down in the comments. I want to say Gamma, but I don't think it was. It's possible that it was somebody else. So, again, sorry about that, if whoever you are. When you order a bunch of stuff, you kind of, again, space out about exactly who sent it. Sometimes, if I had to look on my notes, I would know. And next, we have a bunch. And I know for an absolute fact, this is from Gamma. And there's 2 distinct orders in here. One thing that I'm going to say, and I would ask everyone, this is just smart, reuse your stuff. They're silly to throw. If you're a person, especially who buys and sells, it's silly to get new materials. And the main reason is because lo and behold, you'll sell something and now you've got to run to Office Depot or Office Max and buy a bunch of stuff yourself. If you put this stuff in a place where you've got the room for it, it's real easy to reuse. I mean, I reuse everything that I can that's not jacked up and full of tape and whatnot. So, you know, and again, there's a certain time, and you'll know when it is that it's time to throw something out. I mean, if it gets to where it's undistinguishable as a bubble wrap or, you know, or as a usable piece of cardboard, I mean, obviously that's when it needs to go bye-bye. But other than that, I mean, if it's usable, hell, use it. It's also, and I mean, I don't want to get too politically correct here. It's good for the environment too. I mean, it's silly to throw stuff away that, you know, it's not necessary to do that. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have one stack of books. We have two stacks of books. Let's see, this one is taped to this. Good job, Gamma, by the way. Everything looks like it showed up and didn't get the corners jacked or anything like that. He followed one of the rules of shipping comic books, which is use the strength of the books with each other. So basically, if you put 5-6 books together facing in, so you've got the outside. Obviously, the last thing that a person sees when they open, or the first thing I should say that they see when they open it, is a comic book back, sort of like this. That's perfect way to ship, because then what happens is you've got the strength of one book relying on the strength of the book next to it. And if you're going cover to cover, they're not going to get dinged by, you know, little things getting dropped and whatnot by the post office. Unfortunately, like I said, that stuff happens, especially more often now with them not wanting to come close to people's houses and stuff. I've seen them launch stuff from a ways away. So in no particular order, we've got Thanos Legacy #1. I think that's one of the variant covers. Yeah, it is. We've got Spider-Man 431, first, if I remember, Cosmic Carnage. We have actually an issue which I've had and sold 5 or 6 times, Silver Surfer 44, which is first, if I remember, is it first glove? I'm spacing out you know what I mean. Another copy, X-Men #4, and I will think of it, Gauntlet. We've got War Machine 281, which is first War Machine. We have 430. I think this is the, if I'm not mistaken, this may be the first full, or either the first full or first appearance of Cosmic Carnage, and then the other one is the other one. And a book that you don't want to sleep on. If you see this cheap, pick it up. Dark Hawk #1. It has its strange little group of fans that absolutely love it. You'll especially find on Facebook. There's like a whole big thing about it. Again, doesn't make a ton of sense, and I know it's a book that's been overprinted, but it almost reminds me a little bit of Moon Knight, which is either you're a fan or you're not, and it seems like people that aren't fans will eventually figure it out. So again, if you see Dark Hawk 1, pick it up. Spawn #1, the Image First, which I didn't even know they made until I saw this. #8, got a few of those. #1, got a few of those. Stay. This is kind of the killer book from this lot, 249. Low print, or yeah, 249 low print copy. Good book to have. Sells for a lot. Does real well. And also 228, which is the Action Comics #1 Swipe. #9. And then I'm not sure what issue this was. I think it's 214. I think it's 214. And it's the Virgin variant. And last but not least, this is my last bunch of books. We're going on 34 minutes here. Sorry for this taking so long, guys. we have Infinity Gauntlet. Thank you. We have X Factor number 6, which is just an iconic book. And Infinity Gauntlet number 1. Secret Defenders 12, kind of that sparkly goodness with Thanos. And X Factor number 5, second, I believe, Apocalypse. First one was the very first one I showed, 4. Infinity Free Comic Book Day. One of the Black Order, I want to say Clavis, whatever the hell his name is, forgive me. And another, I might have misspoke. I said that one was this, and this is the McFarlane Spider-Man number 17 with a Thanos appearance, or at least cover. This is, again, one of those that gets swiped every once in a while. And guys, that is the bottom of the barrel. That is the, that's my books. So thanks for tuning in. I know it took a while. A lot of stuff here. I got to go through it, and now I got to put my C in my, what is it, CLS or CLZ or whatever app, which is a pain in the ass, if I'm being honest. But again, I usually put it in there. I usually put what I paid for something, how many copies I have, how I got it, when I got it, etc. And it just makes things so much easier if you decide to sell. You can see what you paid for something to see if you're letting it go for a correct price. Also, it's good to know when you bought something, so you know you can kind of keep track of if it was if it was selling high, selling low, whatever. So that's my next order of business, is take all this stuff and enter it. I do have all these books written down that I was expecting them, so I kind of know what I paid for them. And again, I'll enter all that kind of stuff in there. And that's my next job after this. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great week, or a great weekend, depending on when you see this. Gino Bonino, guys, leave a like. Thanks for giving me 38 minutes almost of your time, and I will talk to you later. Peace out. Bye for now.